Okay. So do you still think that Bitcoin can go back to 10,000, 12,000?
Yeah, I do. I actually do. And I think, interestingly enough, am I able to show my charts on here? That would be awesome if I could.
Absolutely. If you, yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right,
That's what we
let's.
are waiting for.
Oh, perfect. There we go.
Garrett, without charts, it's not possible.
Yeah, what is that, right? We got the charts up there. I don't know if you guys can pop it up. There we
Yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
so one of the things that I just noticed on Bitcoin a couple days ago that has me slightly concerned with the upward momentum is this, right? So you have this bullish consolidation, and what we saw was a move up where it tried to break out, and then you actually pulled back. And this is what's known as a topping tail, this candle right here. All right, topping tails are bearish signals. Basically, the thought process behind a topping tail is that bulls or buyers pushed it up, but then bigger money came from the top and pushed it back down, closing it in the lower levels here with a long tail on top. Topping tails signal the potential for downside momentum to start kicking in again. So again, I'm not saying it's a definitive negative, meaning that we're definitely going down. There's still a chance that we could negate it and go to 25,000. But I would say the probabilities at this point have flipped towards the slight negative on Bitcoin here with that topping tail formation. So if we do sell off, you're going to have support at 22,300 right here, which is the low of the consolidation. Then if you break that, you have 21,300, which is the FTX high before the collapse. And you can see right here, that was resistance until we broke it. If we get through that, then you come down towards this middle point right here, and eventually your double bottom. I don't believe we have seen the lows yet on crypto. To me, this is a bear market rally. This is kind of a 2021 rejuvenation, but I don't believe that it's the low on the crypto markets yet.
And bear market should not be so small because it's just 10 weeks or so.
Yeah.
So
And you're right. And that's so important, because if you look at past bear markets where they ended, right? So think about in 2009 after the financial crisis, or in 2001 and 2, the initial move up in the markets, retail investors are always too scared to get in the market. So it's a very concerning signal when you have this move up in crypto, I think about 35%. But if we zoom out on the chart, like look at the bigger picture, right? Yeah, I mean, it's a great bounce, but it's kind of the equivalent of from here to here, right? I mean, that's essentially the same distance. But here you have bullishness really kind of reminiscent of when crypto was all the way up here. And again, for the retail crowd to be that bullish this quickly tells me it's probably not the end, because even in 2018, when we bottomed out in Bitcoin, the initial up move of 30, 35, 40% off of the lows, people were still telling me, oh, crypto's dead, it's not coming back. I mean, that was the majority. You didn't see people rejoicing yet. It wasn't until we got over 10,000 that believers came back in. And that was actually a triple off the lows. That was a 3x pretty much off the lows. And I'm hugely bullish on Bitcoin long term, right? It's just this period where we're in right now where it's a bear market, where it kind of is scary. Do we go lower? Do we not go lower? So if you're a long-term investor, there's nothing wrong with kind of legging into Bitcoin or Ethereum, even at these levels. But again, the term legging means you're not putting your whole bag in Bitcoin right here. You're basically saying, okay, if I want to invest $10,000 in Bitcoin, I'm going to put $1,000 in here. And then maybe every 1,000 down, I'll add another 1,000. And what that does is it gives you the ability to participate on the upside if it goes up. Like if it goes to $1 million, even if you have $1,000 in there, you're still making great money. If it goes down, you're dollar cost averaging and bringing your overall average down, so that when it does go to $1 million, you make even more money. And really, as a trader, you're always analyzing your risk. And by legging in, you're really being very careful about your risk. You're getting exposure, but you're not overexposing. So my guess is that the next big bull market in Bitcoin probably coincides with 2025-ish to 2026. So it's going to take a little while. We have to work through these issues within the global and domestic economy. The inflation has to get under control. The Fed has to be willing to start to print again, which eventually I think they will. But I think it does get pushed off a little bit. The halving will help in 2024. And that will be part of the catalyst for the next big move. But the next big move, I think, is going to come from institutional buyers. right? So if you look at the buyers right now in crypto, it's mainly small investors. You do have some institutions, but comparatively to the stock market, it's way more small investors in retail versus institutions. Once we get some sort of clarity on regulation, that's going to be huge because institutions are wanting to invest in this space. Even after FTX, there's still this underlying want to invest in crypto. And so once the clarity is there, once the regulation is there, once people know that their money is safe when they invest in these things, that's going to be a huge catalyst for the next bull market. And I think the next bull market takes us well north of 100,000, maybe even to 250,000 based on the institutional money involvement.
But you said that probably for next 3 to 4 years, we won't be able to see all-time highs on stock markets.
Yeah.
So do you think the same thing for cryptos as well?
No, I'm a little, it's interesting, right? Because crypto being an asset, a risk asset, you would assume that, right? But I really do think that once we get regulation in the crypto markets in the US, I think you're going to see this kind of flipping of being a risk asset in, at least in Bitcoin. And listen, that's true, because I should really differentiate where you have Bitcoin, which is like a digital gold, versus some of the altcoins, which are much more like stocks. So I think for Bitcoin, at least, it flips into a digital gold where even during a bad recession, price will start to actually go up. So I think the stock market, again, maybe even 10 years before we make a new all-time high, but I think crypto within 3 or 4 years is easily breaking through 69,000 and maybe even higher. So imagine if the US goes into this recession, and a lot of people are saying, oh, it's going to be a really bad recession. I think it could just be one of these like long drawn out, smaller recessions where really investors are just like, oh, this, how long is this going to go on? And the Fed's not willing to print money to bail us out early on, because the Fed will bail us out if inflation gets below 2% or if it becomes too like a depression, right? If it's a really, really bad recession.